You shaved this morning. Or maybe yesterday. Maybe you're growing something out and you're 3 days in and you're not sure yet if it's a choice or just laziness. Either way, at some point you stood in front of a mirror, picked up a blade, and removed hair from your face. You didn't think about it. You never do. But that motion, blade against skin, slow and deliberate, is one of the oldest things a human being has ever done. Older than writing, older than farming, older than any civilization you've ever read about in school. And the reason ancient humans started doing it has nothing to do with looking good. Archaeologists working in Morocco in 2011 made a discovery that quietly rewrote the timeline of human grooming. Inside a cave called Contrebandier, a site that had been occupied by humans for tens of thousands of years, they found something unexpected alongside the usual tools and animal bones. Grooming tools. Specifically, small bone implements showing wear patterns consistent with hair removal. Dated to approximately 170,000 years ago, not 10,000, not 50,000, 170,000. Which means that before modern humans had left Africa, before we had crossed oceans or built shelters or domesticated a single animal, someone was already thinking about what was growing on their face. The first question is obvious. How? There were no razors, no steel, no metal of any kind. What does shaving look like when you have none of the tools we associate with it? The answer involves something you've probably held in your hand without ever thinking about it. Flint. Flint, when fractured correctly, produces an edge so sharp it makes modern razor blades look crude by comparison. Under a microscope, a freshly napped flint edge has a cutting surface measured in nanometers. Surgeons in the 1970s actually experimented with obsidian scalpels, volcanic glass with similar properties, and found they produced cleaner incisions than steel. Ancient humans had access to the sharpest cutting technology that has ever existed. They just made it themselves. From rocks. Archaeological sites across Europe, Africa, and the Middle East have produced small flint blades, microliths, with wear patterns that researchers have identified as consistent with scraping soft tissue rather than cutting meat or processing wood. The angle of use, the location of the wear, the type of polish left on the edge, all of it points to something being removed from skin. But why? Why would someone living 100,000 years ago, in a world of predators and starvation and constant physical danger, spend time removing facial hair? The answer researchers have converged on is not vanity. It's survival, but not in the way you'd expect. Parasites. Lice, fleas, mites. The constant companions of any warm-blooded creature living in close proximity to others and to animals. Facial hair, like body hair, provides ideal habitat, warm, protected, close to a food source. Anthropologist Leah Betty at the University of Roehampton has studied the relationship between human hair reduction and parasite load across evolutionary history. The evidence suggests that as humans began living in larger social groups, more contact, more shared sleeping spaces, more opportunity for parasites to spread, reducing hair became a hygiene strategy with real survival consequences. Shaving wasn't grooming, it was pest control. Then something shifted. Around 30,000 years ago, the archaeological record starts showing something new. Cave paintings, some of the earliest representations of human faces, begin depicting people without beards. Not all of them, but enough to suggest that the absence of facial hair had acquired a meaning beyond hygiene. It had become a signal. In the language of early human social groups, appearance communicated status, identity, tribal affiliation. The way you looked told people who you were before you opened your mouth. A shaved face may have marked someone as belonging to a particular group, holding a particular role, carrying a particular kind of authority. Ancient Egypt formalized this completely. Pharaohs were depicted clean-shaven as a marker of civilization itself. The beard associated with foreigners, with the uncivilized, with the world outside the order of Egyptian society. Priests shaved their entire bodies every 3 days, not for comfort, as a ritual statement about purity, about separation from the animal world, about what it meant to be human rather than beast. The blade had become a philosophical instrument. Alexander the Great understood this in a different way. In 345 BC, according to the historian Plutarch, Alexander ordered his soldiers to shave before the Battle of Issus. The reason he gave was tactical. An enemy could grab a beard in close combat. Remove the beard, and you remove the handhold. His generals thought he was eccentric. His soldiers shaved. They won. And across the Greek world, the clean-shaven face became associated with military discipline, with civilization, with the Hellenistic ideal of the controlled, rational man. The Romans inherited this entirely. For centuries, a Roman man's shaving routine was a public act, performed by a barber in the forum, surrounded by other men, as much a social ritual as a hygienic one. The barber shop was where you found out what was happening in the city, where politics were discussed, where reputations were made. The blade was never just about hair. Medieval Europe went the other direction. Beards returned as symbols of masculinity, of authority, of Christian virtue. Christ was depicted bearded, and so the beard acquired a kind of sacred weight. Then they fell out of favor again, then returned, then vanished. The history of shaving is really a history of what each civilization decided the human face should communicate. Every era looked at the same face and decided something different. And then, in 1895, a traveling salesman named Camp Gillette had an idea on a Tuesday morning while sharpening a straight razor that had gone dull. What if the blade were disposable? What if instead of maintaining the tool, you simply replaced it? It took him 6 years to find a metallurgist who could produce steel thin enough to make it work. In 1903, he sold 51 razors and 168 blades. The following year, he sold 90,000 razors and 12 million blades. He had not invented shaving. He had industrialized an instinct that was already 170,000 years old. This morning, when you picked up your razor, or your electric trimmer, or your straight blade, or whatever you use, you were participating in something that has no clear beginning. The motion is the same, blade against skin, slow and deliberate. The tools are different. The reasons have changed 100 times. Hygiene, status, religion, military discipline, fashion, ritual, identity. But the act itself, the decision to remove what grows naturally from your face, has been made by humans in every era, on every continent, across every civilization that has ever existed. Nobody taught you to care about this. You just do. The same way every human before you just did. Which makes you wonder, what else are you doing right now, without thinking, that started in a cave 170,000 years ago?